Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday, July 2nd, 2012. Happy day after Canada Day. The Day 9 Daily is back. Ooh! I feel great. I was on a vacation. Do I have circles under my eyes? Well, I do, but you know what? It's because I had to set my alarm early on this fine Monday in order to show up to work again. I haven't done anything in the last 3 weeks. I've done nothing. Normally when people go on vacations, they go to something crazy like a Disneyland, a Disney World, and other Disney locations, or, they'll go to Bali or someplace extreme. But the thing is that I'm on planes so often, I thought I'll have a staycation. In the year 2011, I think I had 253 flights. I think that's the number of airplane rides I was on. I was out of town over 30 weekends of the 52 weekends. So I'm not going to get on a plane to celebrate having free time. I stayed here and got addicted to Magic the Gathering. Oh my god, have you played Magic online? Okay, the interface is impossible. There will be so many interface losses if you try to play that game. But seriously, I'm hooked on Magic. It's like a very, very, very slow form of gambling. And I'm sorry, the Day 9 Daily's back. There's something that are out of whack. I need the window open. I need my birds. Sing, birds. Come on, birds. Can you hear them? Can you hear the birds? Are you in as good a mood as I? Now let me just state something for the record. It is indeed not a Fun Day Monday today because there was a Fun Day Monday challenge for which we received almost no submissions. No big deal. The Fun Day Monday for the next week will be the same, and it is the following. Use a neural parasite to mind control one of his units, one of his workers, build his race and kill him with it. It's really hard, but I don't care because I believe in you. You can do it. I missed you so much. Magic the Gathering. It's so good. You actually put money on there, buy digital cards, and battle with them to win more digital cards. Oh my god, it's so fun. But there's a frustrating thing called mana screw in Magic the Gathering. Let me explain. For any of you who don't know what Magic the Gathering is, let me just give you the 5-mile high view. Here's Magic, alright? You are a powerful wizard. And I know you're probably sitting at home being like, of course I'm a fucking powerful wizard. I'm from the internet. But let me tell you, within the game, you are the role of a powerful wizard. You have a deck of cards representing spells that you will cast to try to defeat your enemy wizard. Cool. The cards have two basic types, land and spells. Land generates mana that you use to cast the spells. Pretty much clean and easy. It's like if you had mineral cards and you had to play like 50 mineral cards and then you could build a worker. Not literally 50 mineral cards because your deck would be like this huge, but that's the basic idea. Now, of course, you're immediately saying, what happens if you don't draw any land? And you can't cast any spells? Then you're fucked, okay? There's no other way to talk about that feeling than that. Oh god, can you imagine if StarCraft was like that? What if you were in an MLG, you're in the open bracket, and you have to play against the Muslim, the badass, beautiful Brit from Arizona, and you think, I have the strategy to kill him. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. I'm gonna destroy him. He's gonna start crying, and his chin strap is gonna be so soaked in tears that it'll just slide down his neck and muddy his uniform. This is the power of the strategy you have. But then you spawn, and you don't have any fucking minerals in your starting fucking base. Fuck! That's what it's like getting no mana in Magic. Anyone who hasn't played Magic will be like, well, he seems a little upset. If anyone here has played Magic, you're like, God, I hate that. I hate that more than anything. And there's that one nerd who plays Legacy, and he's like, well, you just get some mana fixing. I draft, asshole. Why don't you have 5 Into the Voids in your starting hand? What's the 5th one doing in your deck anyways? It's a special kind of format. I don't care. Korean-carded nerd. You know what sucks? The opposite can happen too. You get only land. You start with like 6 land and a spell, and you just draw 11 land. You've drawn every land in your deck. And no spell. You have one little creature. He's trying to take it for the team. That's like spawning in a base so packed with minerals that you can't even get out. It's a maze, and every time you try to get out of the maze, another mineral drops down, and the AI is like, here you go, you're wealthy. I can't build my first depot. God, I love Magic. Now, in the midst of everything going on, this was my build order for break. I go to the casino by my house, I play poker, earn the poker monies, deposit it at the bank, burn it on Magic the Gathering Online. I think I'm in about 200 on Magic the Gathering Online. And I'm still drafting. I'm probably going to draft after this. See? We're having a fun episode. We haven't even talked about StarCraft yet. Hold on, there's an ant invasion. My room is in the midst of being invaded by ants right now. I had a Chipotle burrito bowl for dinner, because some things never change, and the ants ate it. I opened it up, and there's just ants just crawling like, hey, you found us eating dinner. Would you like to join in? It's a buffet. Jerks. So I put down an ant trap. If you want to see my ant infestation, go to twitter.com/day9tv. There are ant pictures there right now. And I could have sprayed him. I have Raid. I can just... Actually, it's not Raid. It's Hot Shot Roach and Ant. Right on. This is extreme. Kills on contact. It's acid. This is amazing. And no oily residue. And then it has the audacity to say no mess, like a giant pile of corpses on your ground isn't a mess to clean up. It's decorative. They're all dead. Perfect. But I didn't use it. I didn't use this. Instead, what I did is I put down one of these traps called Grants Kills Ants. What it is it's just a flat sheet of poison. And they take it back to the hive, and it kills everything! Oh my god! So I set it down, and there's just a constant trail of ants, and I'm cheering on the poison. I'm like, get him, poison! Yes, take it back home! Doesn't make any sense. I don't care. If this were a war, I would cheer on my bullets. I want them all dead. Because my Chipotle is fucking mine. I earned that. I earned that money. I earned the lettuce money, and I spent it at the lettuce store. Let's go ahead and talk about today's Day 9 Daily topic, shall we? In today's Day 9 Daily, we're going to be watching a little bit of Acer Nerchio versus FXO BratOK. Now, I'm gonna do a little bit of gear shifting. There's been so many awesome things that happened over break that they'll be kind of spilling into the dailies for the next few days. However, let us stay focused on the topic at hand. Terran vs. Zerg is total bullshit. Right? Huh? Who would disagree with that statement? All of you? None of you. None of you would. Except the Zergs. No, it's still fair for Terran. See, I'm kind of the opinion that it certainly Zergs are winning a lot more nowadays. I mean, I don't think anyone can disagree with that, considering there's just a huge win rate increase for Zerg. But the range 5 queen has negated a lot of the standard Terran opening. So Terran are having this weird rediscovery phase where they're realizing that a lot of their builds don't really work that well anymore. So they're trying to sort of re-sift through things. And I feel like Terrans should be able to at least close that gap a little bit. Have no idea if they'll be able to overcome the range 5 queen, because that just seems strong. Regardless, here's what we're going to be exploring in the topic today. Mid and late game expanding. Let me check the air conditioning, because I don't normally start dripping with sweat 10-minute into a 60-minute daily. Do you see the luster? I have to check on the thermostat. When I come back, I'll tell you what we're going to talk about. Just calm down. Just stay there. Entertainment, Manfred. Thanks, Huck. You're the man. Dude, the air conditioning was off. The air conditioning was off. It's 78 degrees in the house, and I have 2 floodlights in my room with the door shut and only the birds to keep me cool. Is my house crazy? Are they apeshit? I don't know. They might be cold, but I'm certainly not. I'm sweating. Let's talk about today's daily topic. The idea that I want to focus on is one of my ever-so-favorite concepts in all of StarCraft 2, the notion of how we expand in the mid-game based on our opponent's composition and based on our composition. So we're going to see the Zerg doing some very clever expanding patterns with his 4th, 5th, 6th bases. how he's going to elect to sacrifice those, and especially how his expanding patterns should change as he goes from the very mobile Zergling Infestor force to the very immobile Broodlord Infestor force. Likewise, from the Terran point of view, we're going to be exploring the concept of trying to cover our bases, but more importantly, which expansion to attack on the Zergy point of view. And also, how this changes with composition. We're going to see the Terran be quite defensive in this Ling Roach Infestor early phase and become extremely crazily, stupidly aggressive after that. When the Broodlords come in, it's going to go crazy. Let's hop into the game. So this is a long game from the incredible Summer DreamHack 2012. If none of you caught that, certainly do that. Yeah, welcome back. Welcome back, you guys. Yeah. Yes. Affirmative. Very good. And of course, that's where I got the replays from. sc2rep.ru. Acer's Nerchio going to spawn in the bottom left, and we're going to see BratOK expand, or start off in the top right. Now, to note, this map is ESV Cloud Kingdom, and I especially love it because despite having an obvious second base and a fairly obvious third base, where you go for your fourth is unclear. Do you take this one at the right? Do you take this one at the left? For your fifth base, do you take this corner expansion? Do you go back and take the other of these two? Hell, do you even expand to seemingly his corner expansion? They all seem quite reasonable. And also with the number of counterattack paths on the map, it sort of highlights where vulnerabilities are a little bit better. There are some cool games that happen on maps like Antigua Shipyard, some cool expanding that goes on there, but Antigua Shipyard is a pretty defensively positioned map. It's hard for that much variety to happen on it, so rather than do an Antigua Shipyard map and be like, derp, 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 cool things could happen, I'll just show you this game where cool things do happen, because I'm not a boring person. Excellent. So we're going to speed things up just a smidge. Just a smidgy bitch right here at the start. We're going to just speed it up to watch BratOK do a pretty standard early expand build. And we're going to see the Zerg player do a pretty typical early expand build of his own. Now, what I want to try to accomplish in this early game phase is just to talk about the modern ZVT styles, especially considering that range 5 queen. It's very common nowadays to see the Terran player opting for a no gas at the start, going straight for the expand, or even occasionally building a gas geyser on 15. Zergs will virtually never go extractor then pool. They will favor getting their expand up early enough. And this is because if you do go extractor pool, Terrans will be able to shut this down very effectively with their Hellion play while still expanding. So this is, it's almost like this diplomatic agreement on everybody's parts. All right, we're not going to attack. No one's going to attack anyone. We're going to wait till we do a fair and square fight. Turn around, 1, 2, 3, deflam! Deflam! So we see Nerchio doing what I would call probably the most normal way to open. In the older school of Zerg vs. Terran, where you're getting your gas geyser at 17, going for the Zergling speed, many Zerg players, because of the range 5 queen, are just kind of freak out. Like, why are you not only building queen? You don't have to only make queens. This build worked fantastically when it was range 3 queens. Now that it's range 5, still works great. Still works great. So let's come back to this period of the game right now. Ordinarily, what you will see a Terran player do is go for this reactor Hellion business. In the older school situation, the Zerg would be in quite a bit of difficulty without a spine crawler. As the Hellion numbers increased, the queens would be somewhat unable to deal with them. You could pick them off. And as a result, once this reactor Hellion started, Zergs would be forced into a little bit more of a defensive stance. But we see Nerchio, he's going to get a second queen, he is getting a spine crawler. And I'll note right off the bat, at this point in time, Nerchio has really done nothing that different. Nothing that different. We said that the spine crawler would go down if Hellions did undergo some number of production cycles. and necessitating this. But, of course, there's nothing wrong for Nerchio to just do this straight up, to trust in the strength of this thing that has always worked with range 3 queens, let alone range 5 queens. And the additional thing to note from the Terran point of view is that with these Hellions, you're not necessarily trying to go for some kind of crazy kill on everything. You can just comfortably prevent creep spread, and that ends up being more than enough. So, I want to talk about from here till about 9 minutes and 30 seconds, where I actually think the most impactful changes happen in the Zerg vs Terran matchup. Once upon a time, Terran players were doing timing pushes at 9 minutes and 30 seconds with Marines with stim, Hellions, medevacs in there. We see the combat shield +1 push with all Marines happening at this time. There's some Marine combat shield pushes that happen at 8 minutes. There's some Blue Flame Hellion shenanigans that happen around or between 6 and 9:30. There's 1,000,001 timing pushes that happen between 6 and 9:30. Why? Said Sean with a weird H in there. Why is this a good period to go for? Well, the fastest a Zerg player can really begin to make use of his layer tech is 10 minutes. And that's if he's going 2-base. The earliest that Terran can start to get some kind of tech out is 6 minutes. So from 6 to 10 is a good timing attack period. There you go. It's as simple as that. If you're attacking at 9 minutes and 30 seconds, you are guaranteed to be up against speedlings, slow banelings, and slow roaches at worst. And the queen. So as a matter of fact, these queens are primarily going to be used as the sort of deferral of what used to be some very effective attacks. They're still good, they're just not quite the game-ending level that they were at before. As a result, I like BratOK's decision to go for this third command center, to go for the double engineering bay. He is completely abandoning this upcoming timing push realm and just getting enough Hellions to clear some space. He's going straight for the tank production, because hell, I mean, tanks are just good against non-layer buildings. And doing a nice little turtle. Now what I'll note is that a supply depot is very much so missing. And this bunker, I mean, in a sense, a bunker placed here for the purposes of defending this expansion, this bunker would be equivalently good as a bunker placed here, or even here. Or even out here is a little bit worse, but the important thing to note is that the reason this bunker is placed here is not so much this expansion, it's actually the ramp that you're trying to cover. Like literally shots onto the ramp. And if you have a complete wall off, you can pick off banelings that are here. And you can still send SCVs up to repair from the back. I'll note some preferential choices that Terrans will make with the bunker. One is placing the bunker here. So that way, if units attack from the front, you can repair from the back if a bunker is placed here. Some players are even placing it all the way the hell back there, so that way the SCVs literally get in the way very easily. And then with a bunker placed here, still shoots at the ramp. Cool. Now, BratOK is just using a pair of Hellions, not too many. He's just going to be controlling some space here. He is going for the 1-1 upgrades. And the most important thing at this point in time is to check the third base. Everything in StarCraft 2 is about expansions, and right here, deflam! You can add 2 minutes onto that layer time. 10 minutes is ordinarily when that is the earliest you'd be up against layer tech. When an expand goes down, it's about to 12 minutes. Yeah. Is my sound up loud enough? Yeah, that's really good. I'm really good at doing dailies. So I want to speed ahead for just a brief period of time. I will note the last little early game trend that we will see. At this phase in the game, pretty much you're going to be up against roaches or banelings. Now I'm going to state something that is not a hard and fast rule, but is true a lot of the time and will help many people. Right now in the current meta game, if a player is going to be going for Infestor, if he goes roaches, he won't go for banelings. Or if he goes for banelings, he won't go for roaches. So every now and again, if you are putting pressure with these two Hellions, and you, for instance, see a couple of roaches in production, as I believe Nerchio does right off the bat. Yep, there are the roaches coming out right now. As those roaches are coming out, if you just do a little poking and prodding and see a pair of roaches, you can immediately conclude that he is very unlikely to be going Baneling. There's no physical barrier preventing the Zerg from going Baneling. This is just a trend that almost all Zergs are falling under. And I even watched 22 replays just to double check. And in 21 of them, when a player took a fast third or was going for a very fast layer attack, there was one or the other. In the older school times, players would go actually speed Baneling, speed Roach, Zergling on layer and just bust down the front door. On Xel'Naga Caverns, this was really, really common. But lately, now that everyone's going, oh, you really do need a lot of infestors in the mid game, they're starting to cull out some of those early gas emphasis units. So that is the one thing I wanted to note as we sort of approach here. And as we step off onto a break for part number 1 that went by oh so fast as I was ranting about things like ants and magic, we'll just note the basic structure of the Zerg. Getting those 1-1 upgrades, and his layer will finish just in time for 2-2. The Terran player walling himself in has literally only built 2 Hellions as his only aggressive units. The rest of everything are tanks, marines, and most importantly of all, upgrades. All the tanks will be on the high ground for this period. Building tanks here is a recipe for disaster. Walling this off with depots is going to be the next big goal, which is why we have 2 tanks sort of poaching towards the top and only 1 down south. But this is the basic structure that will allow us to step into that mid-game where we talk about my oh-so-favorite thing in the whole wide world, expanding patterns. So whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because part 2 of the Return of Day 9 is coming up, soon. So hang around. I'll miss you otherwise. I'll miss you so much. Oh my god, I'll miss you.